land code and the state land rules. Okay, I believe you have studied this already. Other laws are the property taxation laws, the law of contract and torts, and law of agency. Let us focus on the most important act, which is the Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agent, and Property Management Act. The Act was approved by the AG's chamber and then read in Parliament by the Ministry of Finance, and it was gazetted as a law. The rules, however, was drawn up by the Board of Valuers, also approved by the AG's chamber and endorsed by the Ministry of Finance. The standards was all drawn up and amended by the Board of Valuers and all the registrants because it is sent out to
wrong one.
all the registrants to have a look and to give comments.
Where is it?
The rules regulates the professionals to ensure professionalism.
Okay. I shared the wrong window, I think. Betul tak? Hello, everybody. Did I share the right window with you?
I'm not sure. I think it is wrong.
What did you see? Is it the law or is it the Malaysian Estate Agency standard?
No.
We saw nothing.
I don't see.
You saw nothing, but you
Yeah.
heard, but you saw nothing, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I shared the wrong window. Okay, sorry. Wait, So this one, I think I close it first because it get confusing. Start from the beginning. Whoops. Okay, share window. Then start. Okay. So, okay. Where are you? Okay, this one can be close. Okay. So from beginning.
Lecture 1 was a brief of the real estate agency practice. Now, let's look at the laws governing the practice. Do you know what is the most important law in the real estate agency practice?
Hold
Yes,
on.
the Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agent, and Property Managers Act. With it also are the rules, the standards, and the circulars. Also, very important is the National Land Code and the State Land Rules. Okay, I believe you have studied this already. Other laws are the property taxation laws, the law of contract and torts, and law of agency. Let us focus on the most important act, which is the Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agent, and Property Management Act. The Act was approved by the AG
I can't see the screen now.
and then
Can't see
read
the
in
screen.
Parliament by the Ministry of Finance,
Okay.
and it
Can't see the screen.
In the beginning we saw and then it switched back to the Zoom.
So I think I make the zoom smaller. It should actually just show the apa kan? Share screen. Okay, start again. And share. Okay, what do you see now?
Now we see the video.
Okay, you saw you see my lecture, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start again. See how it works. Okay.
Lecture 1 was a brief
It
of
keeps
the
going
real
to the.
estate agency practice. Now,
Can you all
let's look
see it?
at the laws
Yeah.
governing the practice.
Okay.
Do you know what is the most important law in the real estate agency practice? Yes, the Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agent, and Property Managers Act. With it also are the rules, the standards, and the circulars. Also, very important is the National Land Code and the State Land Rules. Okay, I believe you have studied this already. Other laws are the property taxation laws, the law of contract and torts, and law of agency. Let us focus on the most important act, which is the Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agent, and Property Management Act. The act was approved by the AG's Chamber and then read in Parliament by the Ministry of Finance, and it was gazetted as a law. The rules, however, was drawn up by the Board of Valuers, also approved by the AG's Chamber and endorsed by the Ministry of Finance. The standards was all drawn up and amended by the Board of Valuers and all the registrants because it is sent out to all the registrants to have a look and to give comments. The rules regulates the professionals to ensure professionalism, and the standard is to ensure quality level of the professional practice is above the minimum acceptable level. Under the Act, the regulating of the professionals falls under the responsibilities of the Board of Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agents, and Property Managers. The board was set up in 1981 under the purview of the Ministry of Finance. Now, it is governed under the provisions of the Valuers, Appraisers, and Estate Agents Act 1981. At that time, they didn't add in the property managers yet. Their job is to regulate as well as keep and maintain the register of the valuers, appraisers, estate agents, and property managers. Also, the provisional valuers, estate agents, and property managers. These are people who are doing their CPD in order to get their registration. Also responsible to keep a register of all the negotiators being employed by the registered estate agent. Also to hold disciplinary proceedings and to conduct examinations. Who are the board members? Who knows? Sometime in the future, you might be one of them. Right at the top, leading the whole board is the president, who automatically is the current Director General of Valuation and Property Services Department. Then there are representatives of the three professions. The registered valuers, 6 from the public sector, 4 nominated by RISM and other professional bodies with at least 6 years experience, and 3 nominated by the president. And the registered estate agents as well as the registered property managers, they will each represent 3 members who are nominated by the president. And with the registered estate agent, they must be at least 6 years experience. The Act also defines what is the estate agency practice under Section 22B. It is being an agent and collecting commission with respect to the sale, purchase of property, excluding acquisition,
Sorry,
as
that's not
well as the
excluding.
leasing
That's
or
also
letting of property, and also the sourcing of properties for sale, purchase, or other acquisitions, leasing, and letting. Also included is the tenancy administration, which is limited to the rental of collection, outgoing payments, minor repairs, handing and taking over of over possession of the property. We have said in lecture 1 that to be an estate agent, you must be registered under the board under section 22A. So what does this section say? It says that only a person 21 years of age and above who is of sound mind, not cuckoo, and of good character. Also, he cannot be convicted for fraud or dishonesty or moral misconduct for the past 5 years. And there is no false or misleading statement in all the documentation. He has not concealed dishonestly any material facts. He should not be a bankrupt who hasn't been discharged yet. And he has to make a declaration in a prescribed form and pay a prescribed fee. Also, he cannot be any person whose name has been cancelled from the register or suspended as valuer or property manager. He may also be a registered probationary estate agent who has passed his exams as prescribed by the board, or one who has obtained qualification which is equivalent as the board exams. Having covered who, now let's study how the Act restricts the real estate agency practice to be carried out only by the registered estate agent. This is specified under section 22C. This section states that non-registered persons cannot practice, carry on business, or be employed, or even have name cards saying that he is an estate agent, house agent, broker, property agent, land agent, real estate consultant. He cannot also display any signboard posters or distribute or circulate any cards, leaflets, or letters that implies that he is registered and or he is engaged in an estate agency practice. He is also not allowed to offer, invite, offers for sale, rent, or lease of any properties in Malaysia, in and outside Malaysia. So cannot carry out work as specified under section 22B, that is defining the estate agency practice. He cannot also try to recover any fees, commissions, or charges or remunerations in court. The exception to this is that any non-registered person who is a property owner, licensed auctioneer, holder of a power of attorney, or a negotiator employed by a registered estate agent may, however, do the work as stated above. The real estate agency practice have had quite a tainted past. So because of that, the board feels they must build up the image of the real estate practice. So under the Act are core values which all registered estate agents must abide to. First, they must be knowledgeable and comply with all the related laws. They must continuously develop their professionalism by attending continuous professional development. They must always safeguard the best interests of the clients by acting fairly and with integrity. Also, to provide quality services with courtesy, fairness, and integrity. Any statements made must be accurate and transparent. They must always disclose any personal interests or relationships that they may have, and always act within the law. It is also the registered estate agent's duty to make sure that all the negotiators comply with these core values too. As you can see, the registered estate agent and also his business is being protected by the Act. However, he must also make sure that he performs his task ethically and in accordance to the code of conduct to protect the public. This is in part 10 of the Act. The code of conduct states that the registered estate agent in carrying out his business should always show loyalty and honor and also devotion and courtesy to the profession and to the country. He has to show a high level of integrity. His focus should be upholding the interests of his client. In doing so, he is safeguarding the dignity of the profession. So he will give a good image about himself and about the profession. In all professional matters, he should act strictly in the fiduciary manner. What does this mean? That means act trustfully with all matters, especially finance. Also, all information with regards to the transaction, he must hold as confidential. So it should not be released or informed to anyone else. Step 4, however, if he is legally compelled, for example, he has to go to court and this information is required. He also should not take advantage of any of the client's information or confidence for his own benefit. And also at all times, he should act with courtesy and be fair to all the other registered estate agents and colleagues. The registered estate agent must also always abide to the Malaysian Estate Agency standards and provide the same level of competence. He should not take up any professional services that is outside his field unless he engages an assistance with the same expertise or he fully discloses this matter to the client. The registered estate agent must always keep himself updated with regards to current professional matters, legal matters, market conditions, and other factors that might affect the real estate and the real estate practice. It is also the real estate agent's duty to protect the public against any fraud, misrepresentations, or any other unethical real estate practices, also any misleading practices that might affect the client or other parties. If the real estate agent has got any personal interest in the transaction, he must disclose it or do not take up the service. Fees, professional fees can only be charged on the person who appoints you, and it should be in accordance to the scale of fees in the 7th schedule. Of course, if you can get the board's written consent, then it's okay. The fees also cannot be charged on more than one party in the transaction. So you can't claim from both the buyer and the seller. No fees should be collected from third parties unless the client knows it and have given a written consent. For example, in a sales transaction, you have the buyer and seller. So if the tenant comes and offers you some money for whatever service, this has got to be disclosed and get your client's consent. Any profits gained cannot be shared with unregistered people, but you can share it with the staff, but not exceeding to the amount of 40% of the fees. Any financial obligations in the transaction, it has to be made in writing and making sure all parties agree. And a copy must be given to all the relevant parties. With regards to co-agency, it must be made in writing before you start the work. The real estate agency firm cannot act for both parties in the same transaction. Also, if one agent is in the firm, another is in a related or associated or affiliated firm, both cannot act for the same transaction, except and unless with the prior knowledge and written consent of all the parties concerned. Now, any registered estate agent who is being employed cannot accept any professional work on his own account. That means he does it without the knowledge of the company he's working with. And he cannot also be employed with another firm as well, even though it is a non-estate agency activity. Unless, of course, he has got the board's prior approval. Now, the registered estate agent who is employed with a non-estate agency firm cannot maintain an estate agency firm himself. Registered estate agent should not engage in any unauthorized legal practice. For example, preparing of the sales and purchase agreement. It is recommended that he gets a legal counsel to do this. In dealing with other real estate agents, a real estate agent must ensure to always be fair, avoid controversies, misunderstanding, conflicts, and not to publicly criticize your fellow registered estate agents with regards his professional work. Also, not to injure your fellow registered estate agent's reputation, his prospect, and his business. In trying to secure his business, a registered estate agent must not try to make any offers or give away promotional offers or incentives. He should not also claim that his service is better than another registered estate agent. If there is already a signboard from another registered estate agent on your client's property, a registered estate agent cannot erect his own signboard unless he has got a written consent from the client. Before this, there was such a thing as a poster wars. A registered estate agent should not engage in any practice which is inconsistent with another agency. If another registered agent is appointed exclusive in writing and is also seen in the signboards and adverts, a registered estate agent should not solicit for the same business, go to the vendor and try to get the same business, or if it is offered to him, he should not accept it. Unless, of course, he has already verified or a prior verification that this appointment has been terminated. A registered estate agent should not try to recruit by soliciting employees of another registered agency unless he has given notice to the other agency that he was going to do that. He should not also criticize or comment on a fellow registered estate agent's professional service, his conduct, or how he charges his professional fees. A registered estate agent must at all times abide to the Valuers, Appraisers, Estate Agent and Property Managers Act, its rules, the standards, the circulars, the board directives, and other decisions. This is so that he will always maintain a high professional standard. If he is aware of any registered estate agent who has done something or do not do something that at the end might discredit the profession, this must be referred to the board as soon as possible. A registered estate agent must not prepare or certify any statements that is false, incorrect, or misleading, or allow the misunderstanding of any misstatement, omission, suppressions of a material fact. A registered estate agent must always have his name, signature, and registration number in all documentations that he prepares, such as proposals and reports, in any professional instructions or options or professional advice, in any offer to sell, purchase, let, or letters of acceptance, and in any professional fees, negotiators' commissions, and other professional documents. He must not allow anybody else to represent him in any documents, correspondence, except for administrative purposes only, or allow his name to be associated with any enterprise or activity that is questionable character. For example, something illegal, where it might bring down the image of the registered estate agent as well as the profession. Unless with prior approval from the board, a registered estate agent cannot be associated with or affiliated to any other professional organizations or persons. All estate agency office and branches must be headed by a resident registered estate agent unless the board has allowed it. Where the estate agency practice or the firm is found to be in contravention to the rules, then the registered estate agent, as the sole proprietor or partner or director of the firm, will be jointly and severely liable unless he can show that he has taken all reasonable steps to prevent such contravention. If a registered agency firm have conducted an offense, then the firm as well as all the registered estate agent in the firm is deemed to have also committed the offense, unless, of course, the registered estate agent can prove that the offense was done without his knowledge, his consent, or his collusion, and also prove that it is not due to his own neglect. When a registered estate agent is required to give evidence before the board, any disciplinary proceedings or investigations, he must always give all the pertinent facts. If he does not, it would be an offense and he is liable for a fine of 3,000 ringgit. This is also true for other registered estate agent in the firm who will also be liable for the same type of penalty, unless, of course, he can prove that the offense was committed without his knowledge, his consent, or his collusion. And also, this offense is not due to his own neglect. When giving evidence in court, he must always give truthful and honest opinion without any reservations. However, if he has any financial interest in the subject or the case before him, then he should not give any evidence, and all the interests must be disclosed, however small.
Okay, I think we're almost ending. So come in 5 minutes time, okay? Come in at, what's the program tadi? Come in at 9:45, is it? They finish at 9:40 now. 9:36, 9:40. You come in at 9:45. Okay, everybody? Because we're ending now and we will discuss this lecture. And at 10 o'clock, we go for the second lecture. Bye. Any more coming in? We are how many? 14 only. Mana lagi? Di mana lagi? Okay, we can't wait for people who are delayed. Okay, we give them 1 more minute. Sixteen. Is that it? 17. Everybody can hear me? 18.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Okay. Only 18. So I'm going to share the screen now. We go through for any questions. Okay. Nobody else joining, yeah? All right. So let's share. Okay. Okay, we're going to go slide by slide. You tell me if there are any questions. Okay, I think this one not a problem. Huh? This is just about the board. Any question here?
No.
No, okay, shouldn't be a problem here. Section 22B. Are you all okay? No answer means okay. 2A. Who should be, should not be. What is it? So only registered estate agent can do all these things. But you all, when you get your degree, you have a choice between wanting to be a valuer, the property manager, or an estate agent. Okay. So with your degree, you still need to do your CPD. Sorry, not CPD, your test of professional TPC, your TPC, test of professional competence pula. Test of professional apa? TPC? Nobody knows.
Test of professional competence.
Competence, that's right. So you still need to do, so you can decide, you can do, if you do the valuation punya TPC, oh gosh, if you do the valuation TPC, it can allow you to do property management and estate agency. If you do estate agency, you can do the valuation and property management. Okay, is that clear? So the restriction, tak boleh turun. Okay. Okay, this one, the exception, that means if you're an owner, of course you can sell your own property, right? That's pretty obvious. Also licensed auctioneer, but to get a license, there are a few requirements. It's a different matter now, not in discussion here. Of course, if you hold a power of attorney for your client, then you can sell his properties, and a negotiator. Yeah. So core values and code of ethics. Everything looks clear. Tak ada apa. Any questions? Co-agency. Stop me if there's any questions. Okay, we can always go back to whichever. I gave you the notes for this one or not? Did I give you the notes for this?
Yes, yes.
Yes, we have this.
Okay. I think the next one I have not. So I think I will have to give it after this. Okay. Anything else here? Well, okay. So the do's and don'ts. The whole idea is your code of ethics is to keep you doing your work trustfully and professionally. Okay. Because estate agency have had a bad image. In fact, the image is still a little bad because of many fraud going around. Yeah. So this is why this code of ethics is important, and so is the standard. Okay. So any questions here? Right there? No questions. Very clear, is it? Okay, I'm going to share with you. This one can close it. The notes, I have to find the notes. Let's stop sharing. Okay. I download here, is it? Or shall I put it in WhatsApp?
Yeah, it would be great.
You prefer in WhatsApp. I have to open my WhatsApp. No control. Oh, tak ada. Mana pergi? Setting up, transfer modes. Oh, that's two, right? One, agency, process, contract. Okay, I have to give you later lah. I can't seem to find it pula. Okay, the notes will have to come later. I totally forgot about it. Okay. Okay, can we start the lecture now? You all have no questions on the first about the laws and all that. You have questions about the tutorial? The tutorial, you do it in your current group, your assignment group, right? You have 8 groups. So you do it in your group, but come tomorrow, I will decide which group will present what. So that one, nasib lah kan. So you got to prepare everything. And when that group has presented their answer, then you can make a comment on that person's answer. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do the sharing again. This is not the one. Okay. Hi again. Now, let us now look at the Malaysian Estate Agency Standard. We've been talking about this before. Now, this standard is to ensure that the registered estate agent offers quality professional services to the client. So let's begin. So what is the Malaysian Estate Agency Standards? Yes, it is the standards that all agents must follow when they're carrying out their practice, but also the board use it for when they want to decide whether a disciplinary action needs to be taken against the registered estate agent or the probationary registered estate agent. So what is the objective of the standard? Is so that we can keep a high standard or high level of practice in the estate agency in Malaysia, because as you know, we do not have such a good image. The first standard is the estate agency office. When a registered estate agent wishes to start up a real estate agency practice, he has to get the approval of the board. Okay? So one of the requirements under the standard is that the practice must operate from a proper office. But of course, the main requirement is that the registered estate agent must be registered. So what is meant by a proper office? Okay, the first thing is location. It must be located in a place which is appropriate as an office. Appropriate as under the law or bylaws or guidelines. Next is the business premise itself. So it must be for commercial use. It must be approved for commercial use. That means you can't have an office in a house, for instance, or the old style shop houses where below is shop, above is residence. So you can't use it. The above residence, you can't use it as an office unless you convert it. Can't have it in a place of residence or in your home. You know, so those days, housewives being also estate agents and staying at home. So it's not possible. You must have an office and it cannot be at home. Also, it cannot be your temporary site office or property sales gallery or project sales office. This is because these offices are for marketing your client's property, the developer. Also, service or virtual offices are not considered proper office. Having the real estate agency office, the registered estate agent must ensure that he carries out the day-to-day management of the office unless it's allowed by the board. So he cannot permit any other person to carry out this function in his office. As said earlier, he cannot operate an office without getting prior written approval from the board. He also must make sure all those employed by him, that is his employees, probationary, registered estate agents, and rents, are familiar with the Act, the standards, the circulars, and the guidelines, and he also must make sure that they abide to it. The board also focuses on the administration of the firm. The firm must maintain proper records and a proper accounting system for the office and all its branches. And since the firm will be dealing with clients' money, the firm must operate and maintain a client's account. And the account must have a professional indemnity insurance cover. If the firm wishes to move its place of office, then it must give 2 weeks notice to the board and get the board's approval for the change of address for the office and all its branches. When a registered estate agent is appointed by a developer, he may be required to set up a site office. So the firm may establish a site office for the developer, but it will be for a specific period of time and it needs the board's approval as well. And within the site office, the registered estate agent cannot carry out other estate agency transactions. The site office is solely for marketing the developer's properties. Maybe a situation where you need to share your office with a non-estate agent. In this case, the registered estate agent has got to make sure that the space is properly partitioned, having separate and distinct entrance into each office. Now, once setting up your office, you also need signage, and this is a requirement under the standard. Okay, all office must have proper signage, and in the signage, you must have the name and registration number of the firm. It must follow also all the requirements of the relevant authorities bylaw. Detailed requirements are also in the board's rules that you can be checked, like size and so on. In every office and branch office, the firm must display the certificate of practice for the firm as well as for the registered estate agent who is managing the branch. Standard 2 is about negotiators, real estate negotiators or RENs. Now, we have already discussed about who they are under the Act, okay? So nowadays, in the current practice, many companies employ many RENs, okay? So that is why there is this standard 2. RENs are recognized as salesperson and they are allowed to assist the registered estate agent in listing and marketing of properties, negotiating terms and conditions in any sale, purchase, or lease. And they are allowed to assist prospective parties to find properties for rent, lease, or purchase. They can also assist in carrying out limited tenancy administration, which is collect rent, pay outgoings, arrange minor repairs, and hand over and take over possession of subject property. And they may also conclude transactions professionally. In the past, it was difficult for the board to identify who are the RENs, and this has caused a lot of problems. As such, this standard states that the registered estate agent with the practice must ensure that he maintains a register of all the RENs, as well as all persons registered under the board. And the details required are the date of employment, engagement, and certification of the RENs and registration of any registered person, the mobile numbers, and the date of resignation or termination. It is also the registered estate agent's responsibility to make sure that all RENs and all registered persons employed by him are registered with the board via his firm. So the RENs, when they are employed by this firm, they must fill up the letter of appointment, and all this and all the details about the REN will be sent to the board, and the board will issue a name tag, and they will update the list in the website so that it's open for public viewing. The registered person, however, will be given an authority card. name tag, and authority cards must be worn at all times when you're conducting any real estate business. But when you go home, tengok wayang, tak payahlah. With regards to the hiring of the rents, the registered estate agent can hire a limited number that is prescribed by the board. Currently, it's 50. The registered estate agent must ensure that the rent is working on a full-time basis and he is working only with his firm and not with any other firm. They must be employed under an employment agreement. So it could be a contract of service where there is a basic salary paid with or without commission, or it could be a contract for service where the remuneration is flexible. For example, the commission. If the firm wishes to employ any foreigners, they have to make sure that these foreigners have a valid work permit. And all the rents must work under the direct supervision of the registered estate agent, and they shall be paid commission that should not be more than what is prescribed by the board. As with any other employers, the registered estate agent must give adequate training to the rents so that they can improve their competency and skills, and also so that they have a positive characteristics when they are representing the firm in any dealings with the public. Now, remember, the rents are assisting the company and they are registered under a particular company. So if and when the rent decides to move to another company, he must first of all inform the current company or registered estate agent that he wished to leave. And when he goes to the new company, he must apply afresh and pay the prescribed fee. When this rent, he either decides to leave or he is terminated, he has to surrender his name tag and he has to notify the board in writing of the termination of or the resignation. If he does not, it may cause problem when he wants to join another company. As the rents are only assisting the registered estate agent, so he is not allowed to sign anything that is contractually binding the company. So any form of documents such as offer letter, letter of engagement, co-agency letter, or flyers. Now the registered estate agent must make sure that all rents, when they are dealing with any kind of properties, must have all the material facts of the property. Facts, not hearsay. Yeah? The registered estate agent also must make sure that they or any persons employed by them do not place any signage on properties that are not listed by them or in any undesirable places. The registered estate agent must make sure that when the rents negotiate on the company's behalf, that they do not misrepresent on the type of engagement. For example, claiming that they have exclusive, and to put it in the signages and in any marketing materials. Also, they have to make sure that the rents do not quote a listing price that is different from that is agreed upon with the client. All information with regards to the property is being disclosed to the prospective parties, and also to inform them of the probable length of the transaction. That means how long will it take before they can actually have the property. And they should avoid to mislead a party is not represented by them. It is also important that the registered estate agent is aware that when the rent does any form of negotiating and closing of sales, the responsibility to the client is still with the registered estate agent, which means he is legally responsible. In the case where a rent has any interest, direct or indirect, in any of the property that's listed, he must disclose it immediately to the firm and to the client. Transparency is important here. Now we have talked about prospecting for listing, right? So when you have got a potential client, now the client must decide what type of estate agency that they want to sign with you for, okay? Which means the legal relationship between you and the client. What happened? Okay. We do up to 3. Oh, I don't know what happened. I thought 3 are there. Okay, I think there's a problem with 3. It's only 10, 15. Okay. Let's discuss up to 3. Maybe it's with 4. Okay. We're still sharing, eh?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So let's do 1 and 2 first, if you have any questions. Second. Okay. All right. So this is important, okay? The Malaysian Estate Agency Standards. We have another. Oops, what happened? Okay. So this is important. How many more minutes we have? Okay, 9 minutes. So you have to know this, okay? If you decide that you want to do estate agency, because now finding a job is difficult, so might be this is something you can fall into quite easily. So you have to know this, okay? Everything about the estate agency standards. So office, any questions about this? When you apply to start your own office, yeah, when you are already registered, the board will check your address, okay? They will go and see whether it is any of these things, a resident or a site office, and based on that, they will give the approval or non-approval. So this is important to know. However, you belum registered lagi lah. But if you do want to focus on estate agency, then you do need to get yourself registered. Otherwise, you sama dengan rent, what for? once you're registered, at least you have the power to open your own office and so on. Okay, next. But when you have this estate agency office, what the current practice is, a lot of these non-registered people, they get the registered people and work together to open an office, because under the new ruling, you can have that kind of arrangement. But then it's based on how many percent and so on. So there's a few other requirements. So what they do is they have someone registered, they open, and then they recruit the other rents. And the registered agent is given how do you say? It's not a salary. Well, it's a form of salary, like remuneration, because they're using his license based on the number of rents that are under him. But under the board, it is the registered estate agent who will be responsible for all the rents. Okay? Any questions? So when it comes to, yeah, what is your question?
No, by far no, by far no. By far no, by far we don't have a question.
Oh, okay, but so far nothing lah. So administration wise, making payments to your staff and all that, you can get someone to do it for you. But anything relating to the professional work, it must be done by the registered estate agent. So all the signing of major contracts and so on must be done by the registered estate agent. Okay. So it has to be like any normal office lah. You have your accounting, your records, and so on. And it must have an insurance cover for your client's account. So bila you nak start up your company, the first time the board will not ask for the insurance indemnity, but when you want to renew, then they will ask you for the insurance indemnity. Okay, change of address, tak ada apa. Side office is only for marketing your client punya properties. You cannot do your own marketing kat situ. So you still must have an office of your own. Shared office, okay. Signage. You must have proper signage. So in the board's rules, adalah nak size apa semua. So you can check on that, yeah. Negotiators, okay, this is another important one. Before this, negotiator was not considered important because the board don't see them as having any right in doing the estate agency work. But it seems in practice, they are employing a lot of negotiators. So that is why now the board registers the negotiator as employees of the company. So you can check their name in the website. When you open the website, the board's website, you can check the negotiator by either the RAN numbers or RAN names, or by the company that they work with. So the RANs, the things that they can do is the same as the registered estate agent. The only thing is they don't have any, they cannot sign any legal matters. Okay, and having so many, and how they are employed. So again, only one firm. Previously, negotiators, they sell their listing. Okay, I have this listing. So who wants, you give me so many percent, you give me so many percent. So they do not fall under any one company. So this is not allowed anymore because the board cannot trace. If there's any problem, the board cannot trace where this negotiator, who would this negotiator work with? Because the board can only take action on the registered person, you see. Okay, educate training as usual. So far, okay, no questions? I have another 2 minutes. Okay, quickly go through. Negotiating on behalf. Okay. Okay, somehow I'm missing types of agency. I'm losing my voice already. So we have only 2 more minutes. Any questions?
So far, no.
So far, no. Huh? Okay. So we're going off another 2 minutes, so we can end this session. And you come in at 10:30. Okay. So see you later.